Ground tracking on the Deus II. Watch this video and you're gonna master it. For anybody new to the Deus II, ground tracking is in the ground menu, and that's that third button on the top row of buttons. And you could either turn it on or turn it off. But when do you want to turn it on and when do you want to turn it off? That's why you're watching this video. Tracking is a mode where the detector continuously monitors and adjusts its ground balance to compensate for slow changes in soil mineralization. That sounds great. Why don't we just permanently keep it on? Because this stuff is definitely not uniform across the earth. And tracking is phenomenal, but it has limits. That's great, Merrill, but how do we know when to use it? The rule that I'll give you is that the GID, or the ground ID, will help you determine when to use tracking. If that number is bouncing all over the place, you do not use tracking. If it's within a narrow range, you can use tracking. Now you could see the ground ID on the main screen of the detector in the bottom right-hand corner. But if you hit the ground button, you'll be able to see it even bigger. Look, it's in the upper right-hand corner now. And man, oh man, those values are jumping around quite a bit. Jumping around quite a bit, don't use tracking. But look at this. This is a more narrow range. All you're seeing is the ground ID going a range of 4, between 86 and 90. That's fine. You could use tracking on that. You would benefit from tracking. All right, let's do another scenario. In this scenario, the GID is ranging really from 71 to 74. It touches 70 at times, but for the most part, it is a narrow range, but in the low 70s. The essential question is, could you use tracking in this scenario? The answer is yes, and if you can't use tracking for reasons already explained, and you see the ground ID is far off like you see here, much different than the ground setting, you might want to
ground grab.
You should do a ground grab. Oh, look at that. The ground ID is different than the ground set. What I'm going to do is hold this button down, the pinpoint button. And there we go. A ground grab actually lets you lock in the G set. And when you do that, you are ensuring that you have the most dangerous metal detector on the planet. When you do this, you are matching your detector's ground balance to the soil's actual mineralization phase for optimal stability and depth. Recap. In order to decide whether or not to use tracking, look closely at the GID. You can see this on the detect screen on the bottom right or on the first screen of the ground menu in the upper right corner. What you need to know is that the GID is a crucial data point that can help you decide whether or not to use tracking. And GID measures the electromagnetic signature of the soil. You should remember that wild fluctuations of GID means that you should not use tracking. And you should know that you can use tracking if GID numbers are in a narrow range. And the final thing we will recap is that if you have a wide range between the GID and the G set, it's time to do a ground grab. Okay, I've got one more piece of advice for you, and it is about getting an accurate ground reading. Now, you could swing the detector like you normally do, and it is reading the ground. After swinging in this area for a while, the GID remained at 87. The default. But I found a quiet spot in the soil and I am just pumping the detector up and down. I'm not doing a ground grab. If I was doing a ground grab, I would be holding down the pinpoint button. But look at the difference in the GID. Pumping the coil gave it a more global read. I hope this helped you. Please hit thumbs up if it did.
Hold the handle, pump the coil.